If you're an early stage company and your retention is poor, you will not have a business. So you should just stop everything else and just figure out how to get to great retention. Because when you have great retention, now you can start driving growth, right? Look, retention is important at every stage. Why is it important, right? Because keep in mind, as your, let's say you're a consumer internet company, right? And you get to a certain level, let's say you get to 5 billion users, okay? That's your core TG. Now you have to find new TGs, right? Then you have to find another user base of 10 million, but you have to find PMF in that user base, right? Secondly, let's say you're an e-commerce company, example, right? At the end of the day, for an e-commerce company to be successful, you have to have your customers buy more and more products. If they're only going to buy one product from you a year, it's going to be very successful for you to be like the next Amazon, right? But if your, let's say, customers are doing 12 orders a year, one order a month, and the average order value is quite high, what's that about? That's about repeat purchase. What's that about? It's about retention, right? So I would say, look, retention is super, super important across every stage of the company, but you have to think about it slightly differently, right? So why is retention important for a seed stage company? Because you have to get to PMF. Why is retention important for, let's say, a pre-IPO company, right? Because if you're going to, let's say, if you're at, I don't know, let's just pick a company, okay? Let's say you're at $10 billion of GMV with, I don't know, call it $1 billion of net revenue, and you're growing at 50% year on year, right? Which means you have to win in many, many new categories. You have to dramatically improve your upsell rates. You have to dramatically improve your cross-sell rates. All of that stuff is really retention. You can look at two companies, and I can tell you, right? At Sequoia, we invested seed, Series A, B, C, D, etc. Let's say we're looking at a company at Series A, and you have two companies in the same space. One has 50,000 users with world-class retention. The other one has 5 million users with very poor retention, right? And let's assume both teams have pedigree teams. Let's assume that both they come highly referenced and so on and so forth. They're obviously going after a similar market, so the market size and all that is quite large. Which company do you think Sequoia Capital will invest in? Sequoia Capital India. Pretty obvious. You're going to invest in a 50,000 user company that has very strong retention, because that is a much more viable consumer proposition as opposed to the 5 billion user company. So we do, by the way, still see startups that are driving more the let's get to growth with low retention, and that's just not a winning strategy. Okay, it just hasn't won anywhere, and it's not going to win. So what I would say, if you're a founder who's listening, you're in that camp of you don't have PMF yet, but you're driving for growth, either because you think that's going to help you raise your next round, or because you've already raised a Series A or maybe a large seed and you're driving for growth. That is not a good strategy.